788th meeting of the City of Laurel Historic District Commission will come to order. The qualifications of the members of the commission, the staff to the commission, and any consultants used are on file with the city and are hereby made a part of each and every application heard today. The guidelines and procedures adopted by the commission are also made a part of each and every application. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing a precedent for any other application. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Chairwoman Blitz.
Here.
Mr. Hayes.
Here.
Mr. McSeany. Councilman Les.
Here.
Mr. Clacoon.
Here.
Mr. DiLorenzo. Mr. Dyer.
Here.
And we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the September 8th, 2015 meeting. Are there any corrections or comments about the minutes?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes. Second.
Madam Secretary, I have a motion on the floor to approve the September 8th, 2015 minutes made by Mr. Clacoon, seconded by Mr. Hayes. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Clacoon.
Yes.
Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Councilman Les.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote yes, but we need to take this color off our approved chart. This is a wrong color for that kind of a house with stone and a red roof.
What do we need to do?
We need to take this color's on our list, isn't it? Well, I thought it was.
I don't know why it's doing
Sonny, when you and I talked about this, wasn't this color on our chart approved? The one they painted. What they painted the house is on our approved colors, is that correct?
We have approved colors for the businesses on Main Street. I think is the way it read.
Well,
But we do have historic color charts.
Yeah, that's what I was putting in front of you.
okay, hold on. So these are the approved colors?
No.
Some of
Laurie
that.
has the
We
list
have
of
some more
approved
here.
colors.
Um,
That was for the project on Main Street, Mike, the approved colors.
So
Were
we
they
don't have,
gonna-
we don't have an approved colors chart.
We have historic color charts to choose from.
This, this color, it's, when I look at the color, it would probably be fine if the whole house was painted that color with maybe a gray roof, gray shingle roof. But we've got tile on this roof that's red. Then you've got stone. It's just, it's,
do you want to wait till we get to the application?
no, I'm just talking,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We're in the middle of the vote.
Okay, I know, we're voting on the
Minutes.
minutes. I know that, but I think this color
I
is
know.
just, this
I
color
know.
just jumped out of me. It's almost like concrete driveway.
Cowboy
I apologize. I shouldn't have said.
We
I
have-
approved.
We're not done. Say
No,
yes
no,
or no.
I'm approved.
You
I'm
approve the
approving
minutes?
It's just, when I looked at this, it's just.
I don't know.
No, that's
Oh,
okay.
I moved this. Okay, maybe it's
It is
better.
yours.
It was mine.
You're here for the concrete driveway, right? I got a concrete driveway. I'm just pulling your leg. I'm just pulling your leg.
Can we finish the vote for the,
I said yes.
but we're not done yet.
Mr. Cuckoo,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Les,
Yes.
Mr. Dyer,
Yes.
Chairwoman Blitz,
Yes,
and the motion carries.
thank you.
I'm sorry, that color's got me so upset.
That's I know. And since that person is not here, we will move on to agenda item 4 first, which is HDC 0182016 for, is it 34th Street? Would you like to come up, please? And you can state your name for the record.
My name is Sandra Garrica.
Okay, thank you. And you want to put in a driveway.
Yes, I do.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So I currently already have the sidewalk and the driveway cut
Apron.
out.
The apron.
Yes, the apron that the city put in. I live directly across from the New Haven Baptist Church, and my truck has been now hit twice. I've lived there since 2002, and I'm tired of my truck being hit, so I would like to put a driveway in.
Okay.
That street is terrible parking all the way around.
It's kind of tight.
Yes. also have pictures of the actual church because they double, triple, and quadruple park, and that's what causes them to hit my car.
Can you see the pictures?
I thought I had one copy, but now I
Did you?
misplaced it.
Yeah. Thanks.
I've already looked at it, but I understand what your problem is.
Yep.
There's also a newly allowed CDL training session that's allowed on that street, so now the parking is even worse. On Monday night specifically, there are probably 100 people that park on that street now because of that.
And this property has never had a driveway before?
No, it has not.
Okay.
Are you gonna have to remove any trees or shrubs or anything?
So there was a tree that was there with the last storm, not this most recently one, the one prior to it. It was damaged in the storm and it was endangering my house, so it is gone at this point. So there are no trees at this point that need to be removed.
And it will go straight back off of the street?
That's correct.
Okay, because my
Yeah,
picture
it's
shows
just-
it on an angle.
Yeah,
but-
it's because of the way the picture's taken, but it does go straight back, right from the apron of the driveway. So it will go back and then it expands a little bit towards, as you get closer to the house.
And-
So it will be 55 feet back,
And how far off of the property line?
4 feet.
4 feet?
Mhm.
Okay, and that's within code? Yeah. Any other questions?
And just regular, normal colored concrete, no
Yes.
coloring added or anything,
Right.
just
My
straight concrete.
sidewalk is concrete now, so he's going to replace the concrete as well as, replace the sidewalk as well as the.
So it looks the
concrete.
same.
So it'll be exactly the same, yes.
And he's gonna do the sidewalk in kind the way it is now?
Yes, absolutely the same.
It's 55 feet, is that one?
Yes.
Is the, let me just ask you, if I
Go
could,
ahead.
are you gonna get this done by an independent contractor, or you're gonna get the city contractor to do it?
It's an independent. I didn't realize there was a city contractor.
Well, have you already signed the contract?
Yes, I have.
It's a shame. I mean, we had ours done, what happens is there's a sidewalk contractor, I think they're still in Laurel, aren't they, doing work? I think, okay, and what happened, I saved a third when we had our driveway replaced.
I mean, I'm happy to try, because I've signed the contract with him for other things, so he's already put a fence
Yeah.
in my backyard, so.
You might wanna talk to planning, and you might be able to save some dollars here.
That'd be great.
They came and replaced, they took out the old one, put the new one in,
For saving
about a
money.
third, but yeah, it's a way to save money. Just remember, anytime you need to have concrete work done, we've got contractors here every year doing sidewalks, they do a
Okay, I
third of the
wasn't
city.
aware of that. Great.
Okay,
I'll
no.
definitely get that information from you.
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
Any questions?
Madam Chairperson, I'll make a motion that we approve HDC 018-2016 for the additional concrete driveway approximately 14 feet by 55 feet, placed on the left of the front of the property, and replace a concrete walkway in kind. I'll second it.
Madam Secretary, I have a motion on the floor to approve HGC 018-2016 as stated by Councilman Less and seconded by Mr. Dyer. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Mr. Dyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Bethune?
Yes.
Chairwoman Woods?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Great, I hope it helps with your problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want your pictures back?
No, thank you.
None of them?
No, they were just printed off the
Okay,
computer.
all
Thank
right,
you so much.
thank you. We'll move on to agenda item 5, which is, trying to find it, HGC 0202016 for 300 Main Street.
Good evening. The applicant, Center Select Insurance, is requesting approval to install window graphic signage at the property, 300 Main Street. As you are aware, at the July 21st, 2015 meeting, the applicant, Center Select, as well as Nationwide Insurance application was denied, and the commissioners requested that they rework their signage and work with staff. Since then, I have worked with the applicant, and we had a meeting with city staff to determine the best course of action. And also, we found that the Nationwide is no longer at that property. So the only signage that will be there is for Senate Select Insurance Company. And what they're proposing to do is have window graphics on the Main Street side as well as the Route 1 side and the 3 awnings that were staff approved. And the colors will be red and white. They'll also have some business information on the door that you enter. And it meets all the zoning criteria, all the HDC guidelines, and I recommend that you guys approve it with the applicant, of course, taking down the Nationwide signage, taking down the banner that's inside, and getting the proper permits.
It looks so much better in the pictures, it really does. I appreciate your going to all that work.
And I'd just like to say, not a problem, but the new applicant, he's been a pleasure to work with. We've been working on this for almost a year now.
Wow, okay, awesome. Very good. Any questions?
Yeah,
comments?
I must say, this looks a lot better than it looked before. I am a little concerned the applicant isn't here.
He was going on vacation, the meeting was this morning. So, I was gonna hold off on putting him on an agenda, but everybody wanted to expedite this, so I said, we'll just add it
Okay,
to
that's
the
fine.
agenda for
That's
tonight,
fine.
we'll present it.
And furthermore, I'd just like to add, he was a little concerned if he came to the November meeting with the seasons changing, that once it gets placed on the window, it might not get placed correctly and start falling off.
Okay. Are they renovating the building right now?
They are currently doing renovations for the building. As you were aware, they were hit with the storm, so they're in the process of doing the renovations, getting new carpeting, tile, and everything, and hopefully they'll be up and running by the end of the week.
Senate and the place upstairs, is that correct?
The place upstairs might take up much more work to get done. I heard they were hit kind of harder.
Oh, yeah.
That came all the way through there.
The roof
Yeah,
part,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, okay, all right.
They're called prep. Any questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I move to approve HDC 020-2016 as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Madam Secretary, I have a motion on the floor to approve HGC 0202016 made by Mr. Hayes, seconded by Mr. Cochlear. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Cocoon?
Yes.
Councilman Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Dyer?
Yes.
Chairwoman Bliss?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Good.
Here we are left again with.
Well, let's go and look over the staff approvals and see if there are any questions or comments about those.
I have a question about HDC 016 2016 for 31 4th Street. Requesting approval to extend the existing driveway back to the garage using existing materials.
He's making the driveway longer.
Just to
So
go
he's
to the
just
garage.
hooking on to what his existing driveway is and making the concrete driveway back further.
Okay, so he has a concrete driveway now, and he's gonna extend more concrete, and is that still under the 20%? Still,
Yeah, it's been checked.
okay. It was funny that
It's right
30
next
came,
door.
30 had to come here and 31 didn't. Right,
Right.
yeah. Why, yeah.
Hence the difference.
And hers is in the front yard. Yeah, isn't his in the backyard? The other,
I think his property is much larger than yours also.
right. Has that been answered to your satisfaction?
It is.
Abby? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it looks like we are going to be putting 414 Main Street.
I sent a reminder notice, and I met with him, and he was aware of the meeting, so his options are to either pick a color from the existing paint color chart minus the plums and purples that matches with the house, or to come to a meeting for approval from the commission. It's your call.
I move to continue it to the next meeting.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so got a second. So you need to call the roll.
Okay. We have a motion to continue this at the next meeting. Motion made by Councilman Les.
So we're gonna table it?
I'm gonna table
gonna-
it because then you gotta pull
until
off
the-
table. We're just gonna
We're just
continue
gonna
it.
continue it at the next meeting.
We can continue it. We're gonna discuss this in a minute.
Do we have to call roll?
Yes.
Yes, so we call the roll.
We have
Do we have a
I
second?
seconded it.
He seconded, yes, I'm sorry, I missed it too.
Yeah, I hear you too. Councilman Les?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Cocoon?
Yes.
Mr. Dyer?
Yes.
Chairwoman Blitz?
Yes,
And the motion carries.
Okay, now we can discuss a little bit
yes.
and continue. When the Fox place colored there, painted there, didn't we make them change the color?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Because it was just the wrong color. I mean, it looked good on a piece of, scrap. But when they put it up there, that's what's happened here.
Yeah.
This is just jumping out at people. I've had several comments, not just from people living, live in that area, but just people says, what were they
Right, but
thinking when they
is that-
painted that color? I don't understand it. And why didn't he come to us before he did it?
Well, and the reluctance, the fact that he's not here tonight, that's an additional reluctance on his part to be here, because I think he knows what we're gonna say.
Right.
And he
Well,
you know.
I don't wanna,
He said that because he received a correction order on May 1st to paint the top half of the building.
because the paint was flaking,
It
that's
was
correct.
flaking, right. And it was a gray color, it was a
Yeah, it
dark
was
gray
much
color.
darker.
If he had done it in kind, there would be no problem.
Yeah, well, that would have augmented what's there with the red on the terracotta up on the roof and the stone. It sort of complemented it, but
Right.
this,
I know. And the stone
So,
disappears.
so,
and
so
it's a
great that he
beautiful
obeyed
building.
the order and painted, bad that he didn't still realize he had to come before us.
Well,
now
was
let
he,
me ask one more question about the order to paint. Because he was ordered to paint because it was flaking.
Right.
Do they run a lead test on paint when they see flaking paint like that? Do they have the meter?
I'm not sure how they do that.
It's not a big deal, you can buy those meters. And
Well, this has been painted before, I think. I think you got approval a while back to paint that.
I understand, but I'm gonna pass that along to Brock, that he needs to think about that for his inspectors when they see, because it creates a dangerous situation. When you've got flaking paint, it blows on the ground, the dog licks it out. And dogs, they go and look at those things, they lick them up.
I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah, would you please?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, that's my only concern. I mean, I've voiced my concern about this color.
my
And
question,
I also did, Mike, I met with him and I told him that the color was not favorable with the commission. at
Yeah.
all.
And what did he say?
That's why I didn't go.
Well, he said he pays a lot of taxes, he wants to keep his business there, but we make it difficult. A lot of people like it, he's had all kinds of compliments on how well it looks.
Well, let's get a few people down here to give me those compliments,
Mm-hmm.
because that's not what I've heard.
Me neither.
I mean, I've just
So I
heard,
said to him, well, you're certainly
Some of his
within your
family
rights to come
members.
to
Huh?
the
Or his
commission
family members
Yeah.
like it.
and give your reasons why you want this color, and we'll put you on the agenda for the next meeting.
yeah, okay,
This is the dentist, right?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
so when,
because, you know,
I think it was made in that
I've
color
actually
because it
spoken to him
matches his
as
sign.
well, and it just doesn't make sense that he would kind of fly in the face of all the feedback that he's been getting from, I know members of the commission as well as other folks about, at least maintaining the status quo, but not having something that's Cape May, I think it was the term that was used.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
elevated
analogy.
And just,
Jersey, but
Cape
that's
May is
what
not
the city
appropriate,
is. City is a mill town.
right?
Interesting.
so when he was,
Actually, I told him that it looks like a house that has landed on another house.
It does.
What a way with words.
When he was given the order,
It just does not fit. the
Mr.
house.
De Lorenzo, you can come and take your seat just because you were a little late.
Tell them the words,
Come
Red.
on up.
when he was given the order,
We can change
to
that.
repaint,
He was given a correction order.
Where-
to repaint.
did he come up with this color on his own, or did we supply them?
No, it's his
We didn't
own.
have any control over that.
Did-
You're given a correction, here's the way this works, somebody sees it, it's a code enforcement officer. They recognize your house needs to be spray painted, whatever.
Right.
They give the correction order to do that.
But did we tell him that if he paints from a certain set of colors, he doesn't have to come before the commission? He didn't follow
You just
that.
knew you had to paint.
Right.
Because that's one side of the house, the side that you need to keep your property standards up. He knows he's in the historic district commission, so he knows he should have come before us.
Not ignorance.
But,
And he's come before.
Well, I was
Decide.
wondering, because, we have this standard where people can come to the city, and if it's in kind, or if it's one of a select colors, then they don't have to come before the commission. So I'm wondering if he may have gotten some information that he didn't think he had to come before us, or if this is like trying to throw it up in our face that he's just gonna do what he wants to do.
I think these people, it's as simplistic as this with most of them. They're asked to paint,
Mm-hmm,
they wanna be recognized and noticed, they wanna be noticed. We want them to stay calm and historic, they wanna be noticed on the hill. So, they pick a color, they think the color's beautiful, and they paint it. And we're saying that's all well and good, it may be beautiful in Cape May, New Jersey, but you're on a street
Main
where
Street,
you
Laurel.
have to match the streetscape, and this color
Right.
doesn't match the streetscape.
Okay.
I
No, I
don't
was
think they
just-
would have
that
put
was
that
what
on
I
a
was
stone
concerned
building,
about
even
is
in
if he
Cape May,
was-
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Thinking that he didn't have to come before us because,
No, they think
he-
they're pouring a lot of money into the city, and therefore that gives them a little bit of entitlement. But the city has rules and has commissions.
no, I understand that, but I guess
But
my,
that's what you hear when you talk with them, you hear, I'm paying X amount of taxes in
I-
the city, and,
believe me,
you know,
I
I'm
know,
gonna
I
paint
know.
my place, you tell me to paint it, now you're telling me I have to, but that is the rule, that's the way it goes.
Right.
A correction order doesn't supersede all the other rules,
They go hand in hand.
Yeah,
Correction order goes hand in hand with, go to the HDC, go see Sonny, what kind of colors would be acceptable. I mean, if he painted it the same color it
In
was, it
kind.
would have been fine.
Or even a
Absolutely.
variation of the same color to freshen it, but there is a step up, not a 10-step process.
Right.
You've gone from being subdued to like being over the top, and I try to explain to these people, we don't want Main Street looking like a beach area, and that's what Crystal Fox did, they painted it a bright turquoise, almost boardwalk beach color.
Mhm.
And, remember that guy tried to say that was the same color that was there, but it wasn't.
right.
Now, I remind people that when they were doing Patuxent Place, Section 2, Mike Finn came in with something that looked like Disneyland. And that was the comment from the Historic District Commission and the council, it was too much. He didn't want to do that. It didn't belong on Main Street. Interesting.
I'll send him a letter tomorrow.
Thank you. Do we have any new business? Would you like to give us a rundown on what's going on?
Well, there's a lot going on with, I'll just mention this because it's in the historic district. A lot going on with Save Our Stop. Sonny doesn't see it, neither do they see it planning, but Bill sees it. That's being attacked in several different ways. Eddie and Donna are leading the charge on that. I'm dealing with it from the environmental perspective. They had 2 permits from the Corps of Engineers. One of them has expired. My contention is now the project process starts all over again. And that's been brought up with the Director of Planning in Baltimore through the Patuxent River Commission. And we've asked Mark, I can't remember his last name. He's on the commission with me. We've asked him, doesn't that mean that the process starts all over again? It's about a 2-year process. The one that's still in existence is the one where they're digging up the old parking lot to the left when you go on the property. They're reclaiming that as wetlands. That was the trade-off so they could build the new stables. Okay? So I think, and I went down and sat at, I wrote a letter to the Washington Post. They didn't publish the part where I sat down at the flag stop one morning and nobody got on the train.
But you didn't have, that was a great article. That was a
It
great
was a
letter, by the way.
wonderful letter.
Well done.
Well, I'm good at those.
Yeah, no.
But again,
You
when I did-
answered all the questions from the previous, from the
Yeah,
Howard
because
County
the guy said
Planning.
the cars were swept down
Yeah.
the river and, so anyways. And that guy is the chair of the planning commission in Howard County.
That's
But
irresponsible.
his term has expired and the county exec will not reappoint him. Under
Oh, my
no,
goodness.
Interesting.
he has told
What a
the
setup
county, the council
twist.
president, he will not appoint her. That guy. Have you ever dealt with him?
No, I haven't.
Well, he's a bit of an interesting guy. Because you need to remember, it's not just this that they're dealing with up in Howard County. I don't know if anybody knows, but Jay Donaldson's been trying to build a funeral home up in Howard County now for about 4 years.
He still has
Okay.
them in Clarksville.
It's a 2-acre piece of property. It started out with a building this big, then they went to this big, then they went to this big, then they went to this big. He said, okay, I'll build it that big. They still can't build. Okay? And it's because there's a lot of politics involved in land use in Howard County because there's no municipalities. It's all the county. Okay? As Carl knew, as Carl and I discussed. Okay, so that's number one. I'll mention, did anybody go to the grand opening of C Street Flats?
Yes.
Yeah, Mike was there. 2 vacancies is all they got left.
Awesome.
Oh, by the way, I'm riding the train now, and I'm riding the train with some people who live there and are riding the
Specific-
train now for the first time, and so
Specific-
they're
Very neat.
Well, it was marketed with the train
Right,
stop,
right.
and there's several people that go down to the University of Maryland.
Right, that's right there.
Really interesting.
yeah.
Okay, so that's, everybody saw that the building between the church and Mr. Kim's liquor store came down this week. Fire department did some practice stuff inside there. There's nothing but a hole up there now. They were up there tonight carrying the rest of the debris off. I mentioned earlier that there's a 40-foot hole in the roof of the theater now. It turns out that the tornado,
Hit
it wasn't a very powerful tornado. I only had winds of about 70 miles an hour. But it was enough in those old buildings to take and lift the roofs off them. Jewelry store in the corner and now the theater. Then it went up into Skaggs.
B&E,
Huh?
the B&E, the old B&E.
Sportsman's? Maybe that'll get sold too.
It was sold.
Who bought it?
Oh,
The Coons?
no.
Who bought it?
Ash and his father from Priceco.
What are they gonna do with it?
I don't know that.
Well, it can't be used as a bar anymore. They've lost their special exception.
I don't know what they're gonna use it for.
Did it take the roof off?
It rolled it back. It's a metal roof.
Did they fix it or is it still rolled back?
They rolled it back down and nailed it down.
Pray for rain. That's all I can say. Anyway, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that.
And there
I
was
did not, I
there was
didn't
a
know,
tree, what's it called?
big tree got tore up and fell
Animal
in the car.
crackers fell
Yeah,
on
fell in the car.
Vanessa's daughter's
A
car.
couple of other things. They did not have to open up the floodgates. Craig Frederick went up there the day before. They had about 14 foot of freeboard because they were fixing the face of the dam. They were doing some repairs. They were done, but they were waiting for rain. Well, they got plenty of rain. Did not fill the dam up, so they didn't have to open up the floodgates. My son lives in Columbia, South Carolina. It is the first time in 37 years, the one lake down there where they had to open the floodgates on the dam or the dam was going to totally, this is a regular concrete dam, and they generate power there. And it was going to fail. But worse than that, there's a whole bunch of earthen dams down there that have failed.
I was gonna say, didn't
People
one or two
need to
break?
realize that they are in tough shape in Columbia, South Carolina right now. I mean, people are out in boats and you look at the water and it's halfway up the business. 2 roads into my son's development, one of them you get through sort of, the other one, forget it. And he was drilling holes in the bottom of his storage shed because the water was rolling
So it
in the
wouldn't
front,
push
didn't
it.
have anywhere to go. So he had to drill holes in the back so it would run out. So those people down there got hammered.
News said, the national news said 14 inches of rain. They actually got over 26 inches of rain, measured by the local people. So, say a prayer for them. There's some, more than lost 10 lives down there or something.
16.
Huh?
16.
Very, very sad. I mean, police cars, up to the top of the windows, gone. They lost some of their responders' equipment. What else? I will mention is transit truck stops back in play. They're gonna see us be back at the plant, at the mayor and city council next month, this month.
For Hawthorne Place?
Yes.
Yes, they have work session tomorrow.
Okay, it doesn't relate, it's not in the historic district, but it's a good idea that we keep in mind what else is going on in the city. Everybody knows that, Town Center got sold for 130 some million, and, Gibbons did not take an equity position. Not that he didn't want to, the buyer did not, they wanted just to buy it outright. They wanted to get Samara off the dime, I think. So it's not that Gibbons was unhappy. I mean, almost all the storefronts are leased up there. And they did sell the project in the corner for the apartments, correct? Okay, so that's gonna probably come to the planning commission and,
It's already been approved.
okay, for how many units?
340, I think.
And there's some office on the first floor, if I remember correctly. Is that correct?
Town Center?
Yeah, on the corner with the apartments.
Not so much.
Or did they get rid of those?
They might have got rid of that, but I wasn't the planner who worked with them.
Okay, and here's the last thing that I found out. Emerson, which was the old Archstone project behind Town Center, they sold it to the people that own the C Street flats. They had 12 units vacant last weekend. And that's amazing to me because the rents they're charging. So I think it points out, and of course the Andersons, if it's built, they got them occupied, the new ones.
Right.
I think it points out that this is a very good area for people that want to rent, get on a train, go to work, or they work out of their house. So I think that's gonna be good for Main Street. The Java place is doing really well, I understand, is that correct?
Very correct.
And I think you're gonna see more of those kinds of businesses on Main Street.
That'd be great.
Yes, it would be.
Oh, and at C Street Flats, they're gonna put a little coffee shop in the corner of the one building. Yeah, I've told you everything I
Tell
know
me
today.
everything that-
I
Okay.
don't wanna talk about the hospital, they're over talking about the hospital at the police department right now. That's, write your letters if you haven't written. And I keep asking, where's the county exec? He still hasn't been to Laurel to talk to us. He was on television last night, I understand. I didn't see it. And he talked about the hospital. I'm gonna make this statement about the hospital, and just for whatever it's worth, take it forward. I've had family at Holy Cross, Laurel Hospital, Howard County, and Mercy now over the last 5 years. I have been in the emergency room at Laurel, Howard County, and I've had operations at Howard County and Mercy myself. I will say this, because you have a bad experience in the hospital, you don't shut the hospital down. You make it better. Laurel Hospital, the emergency room, and the ICU unit saved one of my family's lives. And they're closing the ICU unit down 2 weeks or 3 weeks. OBGYN closes next week. I mean, this is crazy. Where's the 2018?
Right.
What they're doing is they're accelerating everything because they want to get past this. And I'm going to make another statement because I've already said it. They looted our hospital. Prior to 9 years ago, Dimensions looted our hospital to keep Chevrolet afloat. Now, somebody will say, Mike, how can you say that? Because Laurel was making money prior to 9 years ago. They have not put a nickel into the capital investment in that hospital. Chevrolet lost twice as much as Laurel this last year.
Well, if they lost twice as much, shut them down. Send everybody up to Laurel. I mean, I got kind of, I was at a meeting in Beltsville. The people in Beltsville are very concerned. They had 60 people at that meeting, which is unbelievable for a Beltsville meeting. Usually they get 4 or 5. Karen Coakley ran the meeting. And it's like, say, one person objected because they had a bad experience in the hospital. Had a bad experience up at Howard County. I was gonna have a stent put in and they couldn't do it there. They were gonna send me up to Johns Hopkins. So just realize that every hospital has got issues, but you don't close it because you got an issue. You make it better. And we need an acute care hospital. Caleb Gould was over there speaking for at the police department tonight, speaking for the Contera and the Gould family. He said just what I said. You gotta have an acute care hospital in an area like this. Or sell the hospital to somebody. Dimensions does not own Laurel Hospital. They own nothing. When they close the doors, they walk away from the building and they gotta leave it with all the improvements because it's owned by Prince George's County. That's why we need to get Rashurin up here to answer some questions. This was all orchestrated, folks. I mean, I've seen things like this in the federal government for years, where they had the answer before they started. And Judge Nichols is a good friend of my wife and I, an extremely good friend. And I don't even speak to him right now. I'm so smoke coming out my ears. And we've engaged each other a little bit, but we're dancing on the head of a pin. He and Barbara Frush. I'm still on the board of directors at the Laurel Regional Hospital Foundation. And they've got a new director they've hired in for big bucks to manage all the foundations. And they can't answer all the questions about money. Because this one, that's the other thing. This foundation has earned a lot of money for the hospital over the last 20 years. They used to have big galas up in Baltimore. Raised $50,000, $60,000. So again, this hospital is important to the community. It's important to me as I get older. I don't want to have to drive another 20 minutes to get somewhere else. And Howard County, I have been told, cannot accommodate, if they close this hospital, cannot accommodate the emergency room traffic because they're in the red all the time up there. So's Laurel, by the way. Many times they're in the red. Huh?
It's hard to get a bed. You have to wait to have a bed
Well, it's not that.
available.
It's just they've got you in the hallways in the emergency room treating you because they don't have enough of the lower rooms.
Right.
Here's the last thing. This is very important. When they send an ambulance from Laurel to Howard County or down to doctors or wherever the hell they're going to go, that means we have one less ambulance to respond in the city of Laurel. It's the transit time. Okay? And when police arrest somebody for DWI, I did not know this, they have to go to a hospital and they have to take the blood. You can't just blow them the thing and you can't just do the test. If they're going to charge you with DWI, they have to take you to a hospital, which means if you've got a police officer that's got to go to Howard County now or to another hospital outside of Laurel, they did a lot of that. That's going to take that police officer off the streets of Laurel protecting people. And there's a lot of implications here. And I don't think those, very last thing. There's a person in this room earns $600,000 a year. And the CEO of Dimensions earns $600,000 a year. And I've asked a question, wasn't there any kind of performance metric in his contract? And they won't answer the question. Because I don't think there was. I'm sure there's a golden parachute in there. $600,000 a year to put a hospital, acute care hospital, out of business. Next two people at Dimensions earn $300,000 a year each. It's a lot of money. I said I could have saved $1 million a year. Fire them all. As you can tell, I got a little passionate at a couple of these meetings. And the mayor's doing a good job in this case. I only speak for, and Jocelyn's doing an outstanding job, and Jim Roosevelt. Of course, Barbara voted for the closure, so she's not commenting right now. But again, the hospital is important to development and the viability of the Main Street and the historic district in this town. People are growing old in place in this town. Go look at how many people are over the age of 60 on Prince George and Montgomery Streets. You're catching me. But
I'm
again,
there, buddy.
oh,
Yeah, me
see?
too.
And people want to grow old in these,
You mean
in
by
their
that?
homes, but it's gonna be tough because then you start to look at where's the hospital? So again, geez, I got going.
You did.
Did I say enough, Sonny? Did I say enough?
I think so.
For tonight, you'll get another turn.
One thing we didn't mention was the lovely article in the real estate section
Which was
about
awesome.
our lovely historic district,
From
What are
the
you talking
floor.
written
about?
by Tony.
Yeah, Tony Galero.
Tony, yeah, yeah.
We suggested that, when he had asked somebody, he quoted Ruth Walls, I told him to speak to, it was suggested he speak to Bob Martin, that he speak to Miss Scaglerini and Mariana Rice. There you've got almost 260 years. And people don't know this, but Mrs. Scaglerini has lived in Laurel since she was about this big. She's a Canadian citizen.
Yep.
Her father was a trainer at the racetrack. And Bob Martin was born 2 houses down from Mrs. Gatto on Montgomery Street. It's one of the oldest houses on that street. It used to look like a log cabin. He was actually born in the house. So, and Mariana Rice has been here over 50 years. And her house was actually moved, I think, from Main Street, if I remember correctly, the front part of the house. So again, but Tony chose not to speak to them, but he did a nice job on the article.
It was a beautiful article.
And Tony's a very good writer. If you ever get a chance,
He
anyone.
loves Laurel too,
Huh?
and he loves Laurel.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to him several times. He's done different articles. So he might even decide to talk to Sonny about Cadillacs.
I've been here 72 years.
You're not that old.
And a half.
Yeah. I think when you
Okay,
get to be 72,
wait,
you don't
wait.
do halves.
On the mark stop, write letters. 21st Legislative District has all the addresses. On the hospital, we've got it on our website in Laurel. Write letters. That makes a difference, believe me. As Jocelyn says, you get a letter, it's like speaking to 10 people on the street, or 15 people on the street. You know, because you only talk for a minute. You got a letter here, somebody took the time to write the letter and sent it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Don't be sorry.
I've said enough.
I appreciate all of your comments. Keep us all in the loop.
I move we adjourn.
Thank you. You
Good
second it,
job.
Robbie? Anybody? Thank you so much. Thank you for
Put
coming in,
sign up
Mark.
on Friday or Saturday.
Was the traffic
We
bad?
got lost in traffic.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of that. You want all three of them up? You want all of them up?
I'm not sure about Jocelyn, but,
No, not Jocelyn. We're talking about Jocelyn. Well, shut up. They don't know you better.
I do.
Look, here's my. She is trying to. She's got a single track mind on abuse. That's her thing, 'cause she was abused. Okay, and I've said to her. See you later. You gonna see me tomorrow for what? I'm not coming. I'm just kidding. But I said, you really gotta, you can't handle a single track here. You gotta have a multiple track, and she knows a lot of people, but she doesn't know a lot of white people. That's part of it.